Shalom, Israel. Brother Reggie Jr. here. So today I'm going to be doing Genesis chapter 13, just picking up where I left off from last time. And with that, guys, let's go ahead and get right into this. Genesis 13 and 1, and it says, "And Abram went up out of Egypt, he and his wife, and all that he had, and Lot with him into the south." Verse 2. It says, "And Abram was very rich in cattle, in silver, and in gold." Because if you guys remember, Pharaoh gave these things to Abraham to appease Sarah, because remember he thought that that Abraham was Sarah's brother. So what he did was he gave Abraham those things so he could please Sarah. But I just want to let you guys know that the Lord was behind all of that, because it was the Lord's way of blessing Abraham. Let's go real quick to Psalms 112. And this ain't nothing deep. It's just we just looking at a few things. Psalms 112 verse 1 through 3, and it says, "Praise ye the Lord. Blessed is the man that feareth the Lord. And Abraham, he feared the Lord. It says that delighteth greatly in his commandments, Abraham. 2. His seed shall be mighty upon the earth. The generation of the upright shall be blessed." Now, hold on now. It says the generation of the upright shall be blessed. So in every generation, the righteous of Israel, they will be blessed. Not all Israel. That stuff got to stop. That all inclusive Israel stuff, that has got to stop. No, we must make a difference. It says the upright shall be blessed. But let me finish verse 3. It says, "Wealth and riches shall be in his house." Okay, and his righteousness endureth forever. So guess what? The man and the woman that's righteous in Israel among his generation in his time, guess what? They gonna be blessed. They gonna eat. But the rest of those wicked Israelites, hey man, they gonna suffer. It's like you feel bad for your people, but at the same time, it's like, if you don't turn back to the covenant, back to the Most High, it's like, hey, you gonna stay cursed. There's no way around that. Okay? And then we're gonna just go to one more before I keep it moving, and this is Proverbs chapter 10 and verse 22, and it says, "The blessing of the Lord, it maketh rich, and he addeth no sorrow with it." And that's one thing I love about the Lord, is when he gives you riches, when he gives you your heart's desire, it doesn't come with any sorrow. And unfortunately, you have a lot of Israelites in this truth, formerly, but a lot of our brothers and sisters have departed from the faith because they're going off and they're chasing money. There are guys that is all of these different things, but they're chasing money, man. That's what it always come down to. The Lord said the love of money is the root of all evil. It's the love of it. And a lot of our brothers and sisters, they've departed trying to chase the bag. Meanwhile, they're piercing themselves with many sorrows trying to get this stuff. And I don't know if you guys been looking at the news and stuff lately and seeing empty shelves everywhere all across the U.S. in these grocery stores, but let me just say that this is not the time to depart from the Most High. More than ever, you better be on your game, because judgment is coming. And so all of these brothers and sisters departed trying to chase after the bag, the Lord gonna get them, man, because they wanted to chase some shekels. Why? Because the whole time they were acting like they served the Most High, but really they serve the gods. That's right, gods. They serve the gods of gold and of silver. But again, it said that the Lord, when he bless you, when he give you rich stuff, it don't come with no sorrow. But see, all of these entertainers and actors you see, all of them people you see, you wanna know why they're so crazy? It's because they've done all of this wicked and evil rituals, all kind of sick, wicked stuff to get this money. Men and women, they want a certain amount of money, gotta touch their toes. But the Lord, you ain't gotta worry about all that. All you gotta do is do what the Lord say. Seek the kingdom first, and everything else will be added to you. But see, what people want is they want stuff that's overnight. The Most High, he's not an overnight type of God. Can he do it? Oh yeah, absolutely. But he's the type of person, he works by, he's a diligent type of God. And he's the type of person that he gives stuff to you a little bit at a time. But you know, our people, we're greedy and we're poor in this captivity. So a lot of our people, they don't want that slow, what they call slow money. They don't want that. They want this quick stuff. And that's where people always fall at. But let's go ahead and get back into this, guys. This is a short lesson, so I'm only going to be stopping a few times. But it's only like 18 verses. So we're going to get through this fairly quickly. So back to Genesis chapter 13, and I'm going to continue reading. And it says, verse 3, and he went on his journeys from the south even to Bethel, unto the place where his tent had been at the beginning, between Bethel and Hai. Verse 4, and it says, unto the place of the altar, which he had made there at the first, and there Abraham called on the name of the Lord. Verse 5, it says, and Lot also, which went with Abram, had flocks and herds and tents. So Lot also, which is Abraham's nephew, he was also very blessed. Verse 6. Now look at this. It says, and the land was not able to bear them, that they might dwell together, for their substance was great, so that they could not dwell together. And of course, we know it's the Most High behind this. But the Lord will bless your socks off, man. If you do what he tell you to do, you will have an overabundance. Just how when you cross God and he curses you and you have severe lack and underabundance, well, it's the opposite. You do what the Most High say, he gives you an overabundance, in so much that you like, man, I have too much. And that's not to say riches mean you are blessed, but I'm just showing you that the Most High, he will do these things if you serve him, okay? So Lot and Abraham, they had so much substance that they were not able to dwell together. Okay, so let me keep reading, because I was finna stop and bring out a scripture, but I just want to keep reading. It's verse 7, and it says, and there was a strife between the herdmen of Abraham's cattle and the herdmen of Lot's cattle. And the Canaanite and the Perizzite dwelt then in the land. Verse 8, and it says, and now look at Abraham. He says, and Abram said unto Lot, let there be no strife, I pray thee, between me and thee, and between my herdmen and thy herdmen, for we be brethren. Verse 9, it says, is not the whole land before thee? Separate thyself, I pray thee, from me. If thou wilt take the left hand, then I will go to the right. Or if thou depart to the right hand, then I will go to the left. So look at Abraham diffusing the situation. But it's funny because in verse 7, they tell us it was Abraham and Lot striving. No, it was their herdmen striving. And I guarantee you what was going on was they had so much cattle, Abraham and Lot, that the cattle probably was crossing over each other to the point where they were mixing. So the herdmen on both sides was probably like, hey man, get your cattle. It was probably one of those type of things. But look at Abraham. He diffused the situation by simply saying, hey Lot, let's separate from each other, so that way there be no strife among us. So you see Abraham endeavoring to keep the unity. Let's go real quick to Ephesians chapter 4. Because we need to follow after the example of our forefathers, because we are sure as heck not doing a good job. Ephesians 4, and I'm going to read verses 1 through 3, and it says, therefore, the prisoner of the Lord, beseech you that ye walk worthy of the vocation wherewith ye are called. 2, with all lowliness and meekness. So humbleness, that's the number one thing that the Lord wants out of Israel, humbleness. And it says with long suffering, which is an overabundance of patience. Okay, it says forbearing one another in love. Okay, 3. Now this is the most important part right here. It says endeavoring to keep the unity of the spirit in the bond of peace. So you have to endeavor, meaning you have to work your ass off to keep peace between you and your brother. You have to work at it, because I'm sorry, no matter how perfect things may seem to be, we are humans and stuff. It's just gonna happen. Your brother may look at you funny, or something may happen. You may just not be in the mood today or that day. And hey, something may get started up, but you have to reach down inside and say, hey man, let's stop this at the door. Let's not even do this. But we see Abraham right here, he didn't jump into the problem. Abraham wasn't joining his herd inside and say, yeah man, go get your herd, man, get them off from over on our side. You ain't see Abraham join the fight. Abraham diffused this situation. And brothers and sisters, that should be what we should be trying to, endeavoring to keep the unity. We should be trying to diffuse situations between one another, because we'll be quick to show patience and long suffering with that white man, but when it come to our own brothers and sisters, we be ready to tear each other apart. Man, we sick up here. We gotta love one another, man. Now I wanted to go to Psalms 133 and verse 1, and it says, behold, how good and how pleasant it is for brethren to dwell together in unity. Because that's what you want. Because if you don't have unity, you have chaos. And what do we have all across the 12 tribes of Israel? We have chaos, because there's no unity. Every brother and sister, they hate each other. Sometimes, I'll walk down the street in my neighborhood, or I go out in public, and I just look at these Israelites, how they deal with each other, or how they deal with me. You could tell, if they could, they would kill me, or they would kill their brother on the spot. That's how bad we hate each other. And that is, honestly, it's sickening, man. It really is. But when it come to that white man, it come to that white woman, we all smiles, we all lovey-dovey, we ready to forgive, we ready to do all that, but we can't show that same fervor to our own brothers and to our own sisters. You know what that's called? That's called being sick in the head, okay? And this Bible, this is the only thing that can heal that sickness that's up there with us. All right, so let's keep this thing going. Verse 10, and it says, so back to Genesis 13, and I'm going to read verse 10, and it says, and Lot lifted up his eyes, because Lot getting ready to depart from his uncle Abraham, and it says, and he beheld all the plain of Jordan, that it was well watered everywhere, before the Lord destroyed Sodom and Gomorrah, even as the garden of the Lord, like the land of Egypt, as thou comest unto Zoar. So it showed you, man, the black nations, before the Lord used these, before he used these 4 empires to destroy and absolutely, utterly just devastate all of us black nations, man, our lands were beautiful, man. I mean, absolutely beautiful. If we could go back to these times and see these lands, not what we look at on TV today. It's dust everywhere, bunch of trees missing. The land look like it's been, like the land is destroyed. You can see it's destroyed on the surface level, but you could tell these white folks, they done built on top of these black lands, but you can see clearly underneath it, on the surface it's been destroyed. But man, before that, Egypt, all of that was beautiful. You think Egypt was a desert? Like, I'm talking about old desert, no greenery? No, man, Egypt was beautiful, all of them places. But not when the Lord got done with them. I don't know why I got off on that. I just had to to mention that. But verse 11, it says, then Lot chose him all the plain of Jordan. Okay. And Lot journeyed east. So he's headed towards Sodom and Gomorrah. And it says, and they separated themselves the one from the other. So Lot took Abraham's advice and they separated. But see, something that Lot didn't really understand at this point in time is he didn't realize that Sodom and Gomorrah was evil, very wicked and evil places. Okay. And with that being said, guys, let's go ahead and go to 1 Samuel 16, because I think we can all learn a lesson from this. 1 Samuel 16 and 7, and it says, but the Lord said unto Samuel, look not on his countenance, or on the height of his stature, because I have refused him. This is the Lord talking to Samuel. It says, for the Lord seeth not as a man seeth. And we need to keep this in mind. For man looketh on the outward appearance, but the Lord looketh on the heart. And one of our biggest mistakes, one that Lot made here, is he judged the book by its cover. Ooh, look, the land look well watered. Man, this look like a good place, man, to dwell. But a lot of things that shine is not always gold. And that's something that we must always take into consideration. And I always take that into consideration in every area of my life. Just because something looks good does not mean it is good. So we must tread very, very carefully. And Satan, he knows how we think. And so that's why Satan always gives. That's why I'm trying to figure out a good way to say this. But that's why Satan always presents us stuff with glitz and glamour. Okay? He shows you the outward. He shows you the present, right? It's all glittered up. It looks good. But inside of the box is doo-doo. Okay? So just because something looks good, that was a horrible analogy, by the way. But just because something looks good on the outside, it doesn't mean that it's good on the inside. Such as with Sodom and Gomorrah, for sure. So let's go to John chapter 7 and verse 24. And it says, judge not according to the appearance, but judge righteous judgment. So there you have it. We must at all times judge this. Okay? We need to judge the inner. Because anybody can make them seem like something on the outside, but we need to see what's going on up here. And that's why a lot of these people in the truth being pulled away and they're falling away from the word, because they're being fooled by appearances. Oh, that brother or oh, that sister look like they know what they're talking about, so let me follow him. But you don't realize up here they're a whole wolf. Okay? But let's keep this thing going. So back to Genesis chapter 13, and I'm going to read verse 12. And it says, Abram dwelled in the land of Canaan. Okay, and it says, and Lot dwelled in the cities of the plain, and pitched his tent toward Sodom. Now here we go, verse 13, something that Lot didn't realize. It says, but the men of Sodom were wicked and sinners before the Lord exceedingly. And this lets you know that there are levels to sin. Now, the wages of sin are always going to be death. But it lets you know that there is levels to it, because it says, because you got sinners, you got wickedness in the wicked. But here it says the men of Sodom were wicked and sinners before the Lord exceedingly. So they pushed things to the next level, to the absolute max. And so, you know, the Lord, he got his eyes on that place. Verse 14, and it says, and the Lord said unto Abram, after that Lot was separated from him, lift up now thine eyes, and look from the place where thou art, northward and southward and eastward and westward. 15. For all the land which thou seest, I will, for to thee will I give it, and to thy seed forever. 16. And it says, and I will make thy seed as the dust of the earth, talking about Israel. Okay. And it says, so that if a man can number the dust of the earth, then shall thy seed also be numbered. But one thing we need to understand, even though it's talking about Israel and like the dust of the earth, let's understand this one thing right here. Because don't be crazy and think, oh, Israel finna hop up in the kingdom. Because you really do got Israelites think just because they're bloodline descendants of Abraham, that somehow they're just going to waltz up into the kingdom. And they're going to be in for a rude awakening. But I'm going to show you who it is that's going to be in the kingdom. Who's going to make up this dust of the earth. Because it's for sure Israel. It's for sure the 12 tribes of Israel. But let's see who this is comprised of when it comes to Israel. Romans chapter 9 and verse 27, and it says, Esaias also crieth concerning Israel, the 12 tribes. Though the number of the children of Israel be as the sand of the sea, it says, what? A remnant shall be saved. Okay, so a remnant. In every generation of Israelites has a remnant. Even in our generations, we have the remnant. But that remnant is going to be the ones to enter into the kingdom of heaven. Not all Israel is going. We need to really throw that stuff out of our mind. Now, we are going to go about 2 chapters over. So Romans chapter 11, and I'm going to read verse 5, and it says, even so, then at this present time, and I could even say at this present time, there is a remnant according to the election of grace. And who elects them? The Father. But it just goes to show you that in every generation of Israelites, since our inception, there has always been a remnant. We have to be fools to think that all Israel finna get up in the kingdom. It's just not. It doesn't work like that. The Bible tells you only the remnant, only the upright, only those who worship God in spirit and truth. Is all Israel worshiping God in spirit and in truth? The answer is no. But I'm going to go ahead and finish up the rest of this Genesis 13. So back to Genesis 13. And I'm going to read verse 17. And it says, arise, walk through the land in the length of it and in the breadth of it, for I will give it unto thee. Verse 18, it says, then Abraham removed his tent and came and dwelt in the plain of Mamre, which is in Hebron, and built there an altar unto the Lord. And that, brothers and sisters, concludes Genesis chapter 13. Next video, I will be picking it up with Genesis chapter 14. And I hope you guys got some understanding. And with that, shalom.